Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Our officials learned nothing. They keep making the same mistakes over and over again. They should be fired, and we should get new people in to make new mistakes, not the same old ones. Over the course of 30 years, over 15,000 girls were AR'd by Pakistani Muslims up and down the length of this country. And the reason this happened is because the police and the officials refused to deal with it for fear of being seen as racist. And it's happening again. This time it is voter fraud. They know it's happening, but it's being ignored because the groups who are doing it are minorities and they don't want to be seen as picking on the minorities. But it's wrong. Let's look at this report. So, UK election officials are ignoring voter fraud by minorities out of fear. Now, I don't know where we're going to go with this, but I'm going to say it's not, quote, minorities, plural. I think that when we get down to this, I think we'll find it is one minority. And it'll be the same minority that committed the R of 15,000 children. Let's have a look. A senior Tory party official has lashed out at election officials in the UK, saying they turned a blind eye to voter fraud for fear of offending woke sensibilities. In other words, I think he's saying that the officials that are supposed to investigate it are moral cowards. They are spineless, ballless, and have no ability to do their job, and therefore should be replaced with people with spines, people who can actually do the job. Greg Clark, Britain's so-called Levelling Up Secretary, has demanded that election officials in the country stop ignoring voter fraud in the hopes of avoiding causing offence to woke sensibilities. I think he means to a particular group, and we know who the group is, don't we? In particular, Clark raised an issue with the so-called family voting, a practice most commonly found in areas of Britain with large South Asian heritage Muslim populations. Gosh, isn't that a surprise? Where often women are coerced into voting for a party or candidate by their husbands or another member of their family or community. Why are the women being coerced? Why is a woman not standing in a booth on her own? If a man or if anyone goes into a voting booth with someone else, both parties should be arrested immediately, charged with voter fraud, and banned from ever voting again. Ever. Other forms of voter fraud have been historically common in areas with large populations of Muslims. Go figure. I bet we're all surprised here. With there being confirmed reports of large-scale mail-in voting fraud ranging back to the early 2000s in such areas. Voting fraud by mail-in votes is notorious, especially actually in socialist areas. And I can actually see the picture of the guy here, which will once again confirm that it is so bad. We're going to see this in a moment as well. It is completely unacceptable in this age for anyone's vote to be watched or pressured inside a polling station, Clark is reported by the publication as saying, with the Tory party politician, that the secrecy of the ballot is as important in the 21st century as it was in the 19th, and any cultural practice of husbands being allowed to instruct their wives how to vote is an insult to the hard-fought liberty of female suffrage, and he's quite right. The law must be applied equally and fairly to everyone, even if that offends woke sensibilities. This one is Lakshmi Luftar Rahman. That's him. Now, Luftar Rahman is a guy that stood for office, was elected, was then thrown out of office for being so corrupt they had to throw him out. It wasn't just like, oh, he made a mistake. He was so he got banned for 5 years. He then stood again. And all the mail-in votes, he actually lost the vote by people who voted in person, but all the mail-in votes meant he became mayor again after 5 years. Now, first of all, ban all mail-in voting. Straight away, just ban it. Make mailing in votes illegal. And I know people go, oh, there'll be people who are disabled, that. Fine, you get officials and only officials going around to those people, taking their vote, sealing it and putting it in the ballot box. Then anyone who's done for corruption in public office is not banned for 5 years or 7 years or whatever, but is banned for life. The Telegraph reports that the sensitivities to do with race and religion appear to have prevented the Electoral Commission from clamping down on the practice. Yes, the same reason they wouldn't stop the R of 15,000 children. The constituency recently returned Muslim Executive Mayor Mohammed Luftar Rahman to power, with the former leftist politician regaining his former position after being removed from it and banned from running for office for 5 years after being found guilty of various corrupt acts. As I say, why 5 years? Why not life? In particular, a judge ruling on the case said Rahman had engaged in impersonation, false registration, double voting and tampering with ballot papers, used public resources for obvious electioneering, and even welded undue spiritual influence over the Muslim voters of his constituency, with local Muslim clerics ordering their congregations that it was the duty of faithful Muslims to vote for Mr. Rahman. That is corrupt. Luftar Rahman has since once again been embroiled in scandal over his most recent victory. No, say it ain't so. With the Mail reporting that footage has emerged that allegedly appears to show a key campaigner for the Muslim politician urging his fellow campaigners to collect votes from elderly and sick voters. And regardless of the veracity of these accusations, Tower Hamlets is far from the only place in Britain where the integrity of elections in large Muslim populations is under question, with reports emerging all the way back to 2005 of major fraud. Marginal, particularly Asian wards, were the target of postal vote fraud, then Elections Commissioner Richard Morey said at the time, with one constituency having a voter rate of 350%. The official subsequently accused the local Labour Party activists of using mail-in voting fraud to counter anti-Muslim sentiment drummed up at the time of the Iraq War. It would be surprising if similar incidents did not occur in future elections in such areas, he went on to comment. Neither Rahman nor the councillors fraudulently elected in Birmingham were brought to book by the Electoral Commission or the police, however, with ordinary voters forced to bring the scandals to court under the Representation of the People Act after they failed to intervene. So the voter fraud was noticed, seen and appalled, and they reported it. And the Electoral Commission said, we're not investigating because they're Muslims. The police said, we're not taking this further because they're Muslims. And it actually took the people who voted, the voters, to force this into court, where he was thrown out, but only for 5 years, and he's back in, and he's up to his old corrupt tricks again. Why have we got an electoral commissioner who has got 0 testicles, 0 spine, and a total inability to do his job? Why is he still there? Why is he still paid? Anyway, I'm going to come up because it is getting me angry. We're supposed to be living in a democracy, but how can we be in a democracy when the people charged with keeping our voting clean aren't doing their job? So we know that it's pointless voting because what the results will be is anyone's guess. We're actually living in a caliphate because nobody will investigate the fraud on this scale because the perpetrators are Muslim. And it's wrong. The cowards need to be fired. Now I'm going to stop because I don't want to get angry. But somebody needs to take control. Somebody needs to say enough is enough, and somebody needs to change the damn system. And we need to start prosecuting and putting people in jail for a long, long time. And if they're foreign, we kick them out of the country. We do not want corruption in this country. And if you are corrupting this country, find another country. Go corrupt that one. Anyway, if you like what you hear and see, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notifications of future output. Leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.